In the world of sport, there are matches that live on forever. Muhammad Ali versus Smokin' Joe Frazier, Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant, Rocky versus Drago, and, most recently, Mayweather versus McGregor. Well, maybe most of those are more entertainment. But then you have... Yes, this is the lowest possible hanging fruit, but how could I resist? After the first minute of research, I began to develop such a morbid curiosity in it. What began as a trash fire, the internet has made a circus fire. Nobody can resist talking about such a limp-wristed spectacle. Whenever I look at such a mess, I just think. I mean, just look at this card! Besides KSI versus Logan Paul, you got Deji versus Jake Paul, then wait a minute.
Hey, what's up guys, it's Scarce here.
If you botch it, they will laugh. And frankly, there's nothing else you can do at such a disaster. Just look at this.
I'm already memed a lot.
Memed even more. I'm in your head.
I think we have a problem.
But in such absurdity, is there even any reality to this fight? Logan Paul is already a joke, and KSI is, well... is that? What kind of boxers drop diss tracks on each other? Yet there is a subset of people who are still putting stock into this fight like something is riding on it.
Fight?
The problem is, you're gonna get, the loser's gonna get bitched on every time he walks in the street. They're gonna talk about the fight, saying you got your ass
That's
kicked.
gonna suck for you.
Besides a made-up internet slap fight belt. There seems to be an issue with how people are perceiving this fight, as if giving it attention is a victory for the Paul brothers or drama, though the Paul brothers are, frankly, soulless shills. People seem to assume they have been trying to sell this as a legitimate fight, which is far from the truth, at least when I look at it.
Go. It's funny to hear you talk about your baby carrot dick.
Even if they are poorly trying to pass it off as real, both sides are in on it for the press and profit. No, both KSI and Logan Paul seem totally aware of how big a joke this is, unless I'm giving them more credit than they deserve. Both KSI and Logan Paul are businessmen, maybe not the smartest, but they have brand recognition. And people behind them. KSI's done this before. He knows this rodeo. To this, there's Kayfabe, and then there is reality.
If any YouTuber wants it, you can come get it. Jake Paul, Logan Paul, any of the Pauls, I don't care. Bring it.
This match is just as much KSI versus Logan Paul as Kayfabe versus reality. Though, if you're not a wrestling fan, you probably need an explanation for what kayfabe is. The basic definition of kayfabe is the show itself, the ability to suspend one's disbelief.
It's still real to me, damn it!
It's what is fake. Wrestlers will pretend the drama in the ring is real as long as you believe in it. An unspoken contract. Both parties know it is a play, but they pretend for entertainment. Take wrestling against something like boxing, which is largely real. Boxing has no determined victor, unlike wrestling, and is up to the personalities to play to the crowd. Sort of like wrestling.
See, I outthink a man. See, the matador beats the bull. The bull is the strongest. Bull hits the hardest, but the matador is the smartest. Man conquered all the beasts in the jungles, got them in cages, but the beast can whoop the man.
So this too can get hazy, with people exaggerating their personalities for the spectacle. Something very obvious with KSI and Logan Paul. Do KSI and Logan Paul actually hate each other? Not likely. Nobody on YouTube particularly dislikes each other, at least not enough to actually bring it into the real world like these two. Nearly all YouTube drama falls into the definition of kayfabe, a sort of verbal wrestling match kept behind the digital screen. People largely pretend to have issues to get attention and subscribers. That's why an entire subgenre has emerged around it. Just like wrestling, people investing real emotions makes it profitable. It is marketable too. If you knew it was fake, it would be no fun. But it is also enjoyable to not know how much of it is actually real. Just because most of it is made up to put on a show, does not mean all of it is fake.
To be honest, like...
Oh, Logan.
Logan.
It's impossible to tell. After all, don't believe anything you read on the internet. The problem often emerges when people on the outside read reality when it is actually kayfabe, basically missing the forest for the trees. Outside investments make something seem realer than it actually is. In the immortal words of Hulk Hogan, no, not that one. Good night, Hulkamaniacs and jabroni marks without a life that don't know how to work when you work a work and work yourself into a shoot, marks. Hulk Hogan. Or, put more simply, don't work yourself into a shoot, brother. HH. In layman's terms, do not get so involved in something scripted/fictional you begin to think it is real. You always need to remember getting angry over something largely planned out is pointless, since you are just wasting your emotion and time, no matter how bitter you are over it. You can't stop it. KSI vs. Logan Paul is this, an exhibition match made to get clicks.
I want to give the fans a show. I'm a showman.
Everyone knows how hateable the Paul brothers are, perhaps justifiably, but marketers are smart enough to play on it, and the Paul brothers are desperate enough to play into it. They are Hollywood after all, bad press is still press. And KSI knows this too. It is possible he does bear some ill will towards Logan Paul. There are plenty of people who actually do, but he knows people really dislike Logan Paul.
I think right now it's just party ego. I feel like obviously Logan thinks he's the top dog, and he's not. I'm just gonna literally run through you, bro.
It does not matter if KSI wins or not. He knows people just want to see Logan Paul get punched in the face, or people want to see him get punched in the face.
You're disgusting, mate.
And people will pay to see that. This entire circus around the two is just a show. It is pointless to get angry at Logan Paul or KSI because they are both in on it. Sure, it is an actual boxing match, but I'm doubtful there is much bad blood there. Logan Paul could barely keep a straight face through the entire interview.
I'm like, what are you, some kind of crazy person? Are you stupid, bro? Like, I wouldn't get in the ring with me.
I'm mad. I'm crazy.
I'm an animal. I'm a dog, bro. If there were two of me,
And I'm a god.
you're a god?
Yeah, you're an animal. I'm a god.
This is what
When it
God
comes
looks
to
like?
this.
Jesus Christ, we got some work to
Yo,
do.
why are you talking about my son?
Logan Paul is in on it because months of bad press. Very few people associate him with anything good. It is obvious Logan Paul is desperate not to be a flash in the pan. From Vine star, to vlogger, to amateur actor, none of Logan Paul's occupations have ever guaranteed stability or relevancy. The man, and his brother, have an expiration date. And at some point, his fans will get tired of his shtick. It happens to everyone. And don't ask me if either of them will even be remembered a year from now. And why is KSI in on it? Relevance and standing, mostly. KSI's first boxing match was a large success, for an internet slap fight brought into the real world. It broke bounds. Being only 25, he still has a desire to prove himself. Why not keep the gravy train rolling? The Paul brothers also have pseudo-mainstream standing. Unlike KSI, who has been YouTube born and bred, KSI is playing along to try to snag some mainstream relevancy. If he cannot get a show, he will put on a show. Plus, just a love tap on Logan Paul's face would net some pretty good public perception. KSI and Logan Paul are just plain Mayweather and McGregor, two massive names, by YouTube standards, trying to get attention on themselves. No matter what your opinion on either of them, they have the numbers. If KSI wants to keep the YouTube championship circuit rolling, he had to get someone to prove its legitimacy, heavy air quotes there.
Because again, I think you're caught in like YouTube land.
Logan Paul is also desperately looking to become someone else besides the Suicide Forest guy, even if it involves getting bruised and battered. Hating either side of this or the match is worthless. It exists to satiate morbid curiosity, which is why everyone is so perversely interested in it. Nobody's opinion will really be changed on Logan Paul, but he might be perceived slightly better by the wider ignorant public. KSI will still be, KSI, but he'll either have fairly defended his title or lost it, but he still gets credit and cash. They are just playing everything up for the audience. If people actually convince themselves something is writing on this, then, well,
They felt, the audience must feel destroyed right now. I can't believe they fell for that.
That's why the entire card is filled up with YouTubers. It is all a show, a manufactured, slightly larger YouTube drama, crafted to get clicks and views. I mean, who else has the time to train for a boxing match over mean tweets, response videos, and diss tracks? And cheers to them, it worked. While people seem divided, they still got eyes on it, good or bad. Will it work? No idea. It is a well-produced and publicized event, trailers and everything. The ticket numbers also suggest it is profitable, with tickets costing between $34 to £516, the higher-end ones reaching up to $600 for Americans, with those watching on pay-per-view paying about $8. So, the payday will add up for both of them. The Manchester Arena is an actual boxing arena too. Mike Tyson even fought in it. So the match is by all means legitimate, discounting both KSI and Logan Paul's athletic acumen, though I do have my doubts about the second bout in February 2019 occurring. But apparently a contract was signed mandating it, so we will see if anything comes to pass. So what about this Saturday? August 25th. The Mediocrity in Manchester. Will I be watching?
Fuck no! Hell no!
Don't call it a comeback!